Yeah, I mean, the thing you have to understand about senior programmer is making a title sound more impressive is a way of paying somebody with something besides money, right? And so companies will tend to do that. They will call all their junior programmers senior programmers if it makes those programmers feel better and not need as much money. It also makes the person feel like it's progressing in their career. Yeah, which is how you reward people, right? Like, you could give them a bigger raise or a smaller raise and a bigger title, right? That said, I mean, all these web programmers make like 5 times as much as they actually should or more. If you want more money, follow the money and do web. Games don't make money, web does. Well, web is going to collapse. I don't know when, it might take 10 years, but web is going to collapse so hard that most web programmers will be out of work. And AAA games won't? No, they won't. AAA game type of skills are going to be increasingly in demand over the next 10 years. And I think web may start collapsing within 10 years. I don't think it'll completely collapse within 10 years, but it may start to shrink in this deflationary spiral kind of way. Can I elaborate on web collapsing? Yeah, it takes 20 times as much effort as it should to do anything on the web, and that's going to have to get cleaned up. And also, there's just this culture of people not spending most of their time actually working, and that's going to have to get cleaned up. And that process will start before too long, I think. But it'll start subtly and slowly. It may have already started. Like coronavirus may have kicked that off a little bit. AI developers are on the rise. That is true. Content generally is going to collapse. Too many games, movies, social media. Yeah, I agree with that. The only way for web to collapse is if the browser collapses. No, you'll have some kind of better system that does what people are spending 90% of their time doing, Like what web programmers spend most of their time doing is useless busy work that is not actually objectively necessary in order to create the functionality, right? It's just dealing with a bunch of weird conventions by some other software that they're trying to use that are there because of some other weird conventions by some other software that they're trying to use, right? If you just strip all that crap out, you can be tremendously more efficient. And I think that'll happen slowly over time. Currently transitioning from a web developer to a site reliability engineer. However, you have an interest in OS development and game development. Should you lurking those sooner, or would you say SRE is safe? I don't have a good feeling for how many site reliability engineers there are. What would I say about that? I don't know if that's safe or not. I would say it's probably a little bit unsafe, but it's more safe than web programmer, right? It's more safe than front end or back end or full stack web programmer. Simply because the number of servers will probably keep going up over time, because nobody knows how to program. But so operating system development and game development, I mean, those are big, but each of those is a really big topic. I wouldn't discourage you from learning any of that stuff if you wanted to. It's just like, what do you want to do with your life, right? It feels weird when you're a web-based game developer. Yeah, get out of that. If web collapses, then why would you need servers? No, the web won't collapse in terms of existing. The web will continue to exist and be used more even than it is today. When I was saying the web is, I was saying that web programming jobs are going to collapse eventually. I don't think it'll happen super soon. Well, except slowly and subtly. Like, I think it's already started to happen just a titch. I would say there's 40% odds that 10 years from now, most programmers will be able to say, oh, obviously there's a collapse underway in that job sector, which means there's more than 40% odds that it's actually happening to some degree, right? And just not everyone sees it. I underestimate how self-sustaining useless jobs are. No, I don't actually. I mean, like IBM is still in business, for example, although they are laying people off finally, but that took a long time. Like, these things happen. Like, that's why I'm giving it potentially, I think it's guaranteed that this happens. Let me put, or close to guaranteed that this happens. Is the question is just what's the time frame, right? And the reason I say 40% in 10 years is because I think the time frame could be a lot longer. That's all. So I'm expecting better web tools to come around and deprecate most developer work. I wouldn't exactly phrase it that way, but yes, something like that.